Hi everyone, this video is just to promote the next video that I've nearly finished. A question I've often been asked in my 54 years, believe it, 54 years in the heating industry. And the question is, what's the best control? Because the better the control, the lower your fuel bills are. And the answer is, there isn't one control that's really good for everywhere. It depends on you, your house, the insulation and your lifestyle. So if we go for the top of the range techies, we can now have smart controls. If you'd like to switch your heating on and off from San Francisco or Melbourne, smart controls are for you. Yes, they do cost money from £300 upwards, and the payback period is about 5 years, but you will save some money initially. Not a lot, but you will. But for normal people, you and I, we just need something a little bit better than what was around 20 years ago or even more. So originally, I used to install a clock, either a single channel for a Combi or a 2-channel for a boiler and hot water, and a cylinder thermostat for hot water, and a room thermostat for the central heating. And that's the important one. Our heating bill over those 3 or 4 months costs us an arm and a leg all year long. So it makes sense to make sure that that's the best one that we have. Now, as I said, the worst and most expensive system is a clock somewhere in the house and an analog room thermostat in the hall. The next most expensive is that room thermostat in the lounge. And that's really where it should be, because it's called a room stat. We've all seen that on my videos. Talking about that, behind me you can see various slides of videos that I'd like you to watch before we move on to what we're going to film next, which is called RF Bluetooth control. And that's the latest and the best that we can have with Open Therm. So it's not just an ordinary room thermostat, which is digital, and that's good in its own right. But now we have Open Therm boilers, and have done for years, 20 years I think they've been out in Europe. But installers keep ignoring those 2 terminals, and they're brilliant. I use them in my boiler. I've got an Intergas. All of their boilers are Open Therm compatible, as well as Worcester Bosch, Valent have got their own, Baxi and so on. So have a look at your boiler and check whether it's Open Therm, or if it isn't, then the boiler manufacturer will have their own version. Now, it doesn't have to be a brand new boiler. You can go back maybe 5, maybe 7 years. But if you're not sure and you can't contact the installer, simply phone the boiler manufacturer, give them your model number. If you can, take a photograph of the serial number and then pass that on to technical advice and say, can I have Open Therm? Because George, Mr. Combi, says so, that's the cheapest. Or do you have your own version of this? So please subscribe to my channel and click notifications. Get ready for the next one, because you're going to blow your mind on how much you can save and how easy it is to install. But you have to be a competent person. Therefore, any gas safe engineer can do this job. Any registered electrician can do this job. Who cannot do this job? It's not a DIY. It's not let's have a go. It sounds very easy. No. Some of the connections have to go inside the boiler PCB, and only those people are allowed to go in. So it's not a good place to go elsewhere, because you have to do an electrical safety test. And only competent people are equipped with the tools and the knowledge to do that. So this is really important, because if you get it wrong, you'll simply blow up the PCB, and you might possibly have to buy a new boiler for a millisecond of wrong wiring. So please, let me stress, it's not a DIY job. Get it done professionally. Most of them cost between £80 and £90 plus the fitting, which is not going to be an arm and a leg. But please subscribe, as I said, again, And in a couple of weeks' time, in mid-April, look out for my video, RF Bluetooth controls. And that's absolutely brilliant. And I'm going to show you in my house, in my wife's house, how it can be done and the stages from the beginning to the end. So thanks for watching and take care. Before we start on the video about increasing your efficiency to lower your fuel bills, can I just say a big thank you to all the 6,000 subscribers. And if you aren't one of the gang, then please do so, like and notify for any future videos that I'm making, and I've got some real good ones bubbling up. So please subscribe to my channel. Back to the plot. All about efficiency and getting the most out of your fuel bill. So if we go back, as I say many times, way back in the 70s and 80s and all the rest of it, I was installing boilers which were 88% efficient. And we had a single clock for a Combi with a room thermostat somewhere in the hall or the lounge. Or if you had a hot water cylinder and tanks in the loft, then you would have had a 2-channel programmer, one for the hot water, one for the heating. But when the year 2000 came along, we suddenly got some fantastic new types of boilers called condensing. And we've moved away from analog boilers to digital boilers. But installers kept on using the old analog room thermostat. How can you tell? Easy. Have a look at the picture. It's got a dial and it hasn't got digital display of numbers. So if your heating system's got that sort of thermostat, then you need to upgrade it and change it for a digi. And on this video, I'm going to show you an even step higher than that, where you can have the room thermostat and the programmer into one, and you can move it around the house. And that's called RF, radio frequency, and it's sometimes known as Bluetooth control. So I'm going to go through all the different steps that you need to go from the old system to the new one, because if your brand new digital boiler, which is condensing, it needs to have a digital control. And as I've said many times, the best one is from the factory. But there is a different alternative, and you can use one from Danfoss, Drayton or Honeywell Home. And I'm going to cover all three, but I'm going to show you on one of them, which is going to be the Drayton 901, designed for a Combi. So if you've got a hot water cylinder, they will make an RF 902, 2 channels. I'd like to say a really big thank you to James Drayton, because that's what I call the reps. James Drayton, who gave me some extra technical advice on how to use this particular wireless room programmable stat. Therefore, let's continue and enjoy. When we unbox the thermostat, we're going to find all of the components. So there'll be the receiver, that's the square box that we hardwire to the boiler, and I'm going to show you how to do that on mine. The thermostat, programmable room thermostat, will have that side with batteries, and that's the thing you need to concentrate first, because if you put the batteries in at the wrong time, you will wipe out the signal going back wirelessly to that receiver. So please have a quick look and understand at what stage we put these alkaline batteries in. And just to remind everybody, never use any other batteries for heating remote controls, because you can easily wipe out the signal, and trying to repair it can be a challenge in quite a few heating systems. It really can. So concentrate on what the components are, the wiring from the receiver to the PCB in the boiler, and when to load the batteries into the programmable room thermostat. Before you rush off and buy any old wireless programmable room thermostat, let me give you a couple of tips that I got from the reps, Danfoss, Drayton and Honeywell Home. The first one is apps. The better quality units will have an app. It only works within the home, and as I said in a different video, you can't switch the heating on and off from New York or the railway station. It only works within the home. But the app makes it brilliant because you can leave the unit by the bedside table and then switch on the heating from there. And especially if mobility is an issue, you haven't got to get up, walk into the front room or the hall and switch the heating on. You can do it there and then, which is brilliant. But also, leave it there. When you're about the house, just use the app to turn it on and off, up and down. That makes life a lot easier. If there is an occasion, for example, there's a dinner be coming this evening and I want 20 degrees in the dining room. So then, yes, I would pick up the unit, put it in the middle of the table, switch it on around 5 o'clock-ish and dial 20 degrees, and everybody will have a lovely warm dining area. And then I can pick it up and put it into the lounge, front room, and again, dial 20 degrees or whatever, and then that room would be perfect. So there is an answer why you would move it around. But normally, I'm going to leave mine in the bedroom, and then Lady Combi will switch the heating on and off as she likes, because that's how it is. I never touch the thermostat, absolutely never. Have a look at the video, and I've got a short, who switches on the heating in the house? It's always the lady of the house, always. Don't even think about it, men. If you want a quiet, happy life, don't touch the stat. The second thing is, that you should look out for, is a tabletop stand, because many of them don't include it. It's an extra, and you don't find this out until you've unpacked the box and said, where am I going to put it? Because you can't lay it on the table. So it's a wall one. So make sure that there is a stand included in the perps. So look out for those two absolutely crucial things. Now, going back to the receiver, the square box which is wired into the boiler PCB, I'm going to show you how to fit that without screws, nails and drills. Because I'm inherently lazy, I just want to make the easiest method possible. So I'm going to show you how to really do it well. And you won't believe it. And if you've done this before, leave me a comment below and tell me if you like this method, because I think it's brilliant. How do I know that this boiler is open therm? The easiest way is look at the installation manual, or better still, phone the manufacturer with the model number and then ask them, is it open therm and which two terminals do I use? Can I use hive controls on open therm? And the answer is no, they are not compatible, and we wouldn't recommend the use of hive in any central heating system. Can I use Nest with open therm? Yes, you can, and it's highly recommended. On the terminal strip after number 6, you've got OT1 and OT2, and the diagram will show where the connections go to the boiler. So we definitely recommend Nest controls. Get your boiler checked every single year. If available, fit open therm wireless controls and enjoy a lifetime of lower bills and more reliability. It's a win-win situation. So let's have a closer look at the receiver. That's the square box that's connected with a flex back to the boiler PCB. First thing is location. They do not like metal, and our boilers are full of metal and the pipes going up and down from it. So it needs to be a good half a metre away if at all possible. So that's one of the very most popular mistakes that I used to go around fault finding, and people say, I've wired it all up, it was all done, but the heating, sometimes it works, but normally I don't get any heating. They're pressing the buttons, changing the batteries, and the first thing I look at is location of the receiver, and quite often it's just above or just next to the boiler. And of course the transmitter, which is the thermostat, can't go through metal, it bounces off it. And I've had people putting them on the windowsill next to the radiator. So of course the signal is going to bounce straight into a massive radiator, which is a huge antenna for frequencies, because these are only low level figures. So therefore, location of the thermostat and the signal to get to the receiver is always paramount and should be looked at carefully. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to do mine. Now, back plate, elbows, universal thermostat controls. At the back, they have a universal backplate. Quite a lot of them do. And for these ones to work, we just need 4 wires. We need a live neutral to power it up. Then we want 1 terminal, which is going to be the common, and 1 is the switch live. That's all we need. And a lot of these old thermostats, the analog ones, used to use that backplate elbow. Have a look at the video behind me about the universal connections and how you can save yourself an awful lot of time. Instead of using number 3 and 4 as we would do normally, you might use a different number. In this particular one, it's going to be 1 and 3. So 1 is the common, 3 is the switch live. And at the other end, because it went into the boiler, I simply take it out from where it was in the 230 volt side, and I'm going to put it into the open therm side, which is 24 volts DC. So therefore, it's an easy changeover. So you can, if you want, just leave the receiver in the lounge or the hallway, and it works fine, and then walk about with the transmitter. So that's one option. I'm also going to show you how to blank off the old room thermostat, wherever its location, make it safe, so we can then relocate the receiver about half a metre or so from the boiler, so we've always got a good strong signal. So stay tuned and let's take a look. The only safe way is to unplug the boiler, which is the one on the right, but the one on the left shows a spur which has been turned off, but there's still a feed from the upstairs wiring centre or junction box. So engineers, please be careful when you actually switch things off, and don't forget all the details are in our 2 books. The method that I use here is Velcros. As you can see, it's a much better way of sticking the thermostat to the wall without drilling or anything else. So all we need to do is just pick this up, connect it to there, and it's fixed. What I've done is made some very special drawings in colour for you to follow from the receiver box, where the 2 wires go, because the other 2 are live and neutral, so that's easy. From the receiver box back to your boiler. So I'm using the intergas boiler as an example. All you need to do is look where your open therm connections are. If you can't find them and they're not in the manufacturers, then use the 240 volt side, and I've given you those drawings as well in colour, so don't worry about it. This offer is available until the end of May 2024. But if you've already purchased the book, the orange book, then I will send you a special copy of what the new customers will get. All I need is my reference number, which starts with a number 8, and it's a 4-figure number. Just send me that reference number, and then I'll email you these special drawings. And on top of that, all of these are in the book and the app. underneath either the Danfoss, Drayton, Honeywell Home or Nest drawings, and the app is wiring diagrams. It's only $4.99 and it's got everything you need about wiring boilers and controls. But because this is a special, I've made a special drawing just to accompany this particular video. So thanks very much. Take care. Thanks for watching our video, and don't forget to click subscribe and notifications for our next videos that we've coming up. Just as a request, please have a look at the other videos that are behind me to have a little look, especially the one with backplates. Universal backplates are absolutely brilliant, and that could save you a lot of time and money going from the old system to the new system, because this particular one that we've used, as you can see, uses that universal backplate, so you haven't got any rewiring, just move wires from A to B. So have a look at that video, and the other one, which is all about controls. That's what makes the fuel bills high or low. Good controls, good thermostat always wins. So make sure that you move into Open Therm, as we've seen, because that's the best and the easiest. All of these wireless programmables are normally somewhere between 80 and 90 pounds plus the fitting. And you have to be a competent person in wiring. So your gas safe engineer should be that, or a good electrician who's been on a course. This is not a DIY job, because you may have to change some bits inside the boiler, and therefore you have to be gas safe registered or an approved installer. So once again, thanks for watching and take care. What I've done is made some very special drawings in colour for you to follow from the receiver box, where the two wires go, because the other two are live and neutral, so that's easy. From the receiver box back to your boiler. So I'm using the Intergas boiler as an example. All you need to do is look where your Open Therm connections are. If you can't find them and they're not in the manufacturers, then use the 240 volt side, and I've given you those drawings as well in colour, so don't worry about it. This offer is available until the end of May 2024. But if you've already purchased the book, the orange book, then I will send you a special copy of what the new customers will get. All I need is my reference number, which starts with a number 8, and it's a 4-figure number. Just send me that reference number, and then I'll email you these special drawings. And on top of that, all of these are in the book and the app underneath either the Danfoss, Drayton, Honeywell Home or Nest drawings, and the app is wiring diagrams. It's only $4.99 and it's got everything you need about wiring boilers and controls. But because this is a special, I've made a special drawing just to accompany this particular video. So thanks very much. Take care.